Mickey ran back to the doorway across from the bank building, and he hid inside from the clutches of that wretched living fog, which moved around like a worm, a cobra, a venomous snake, unsheathing its evil thought venom in the vapors. It was a struggle to fight every bad thought he suddenly had, but he kept fighting back against every word until it was all too terrible to see the bloodshed, or hear any more sounds of the gunfire, or see any more of the blood flowing into the gutter and sewer. Already a mother and her daughter had been killed. Terrible. Absolute brutality for no good reason. For no other wretched reason than that living fog that was getting into everyone and possessing them. Evil. It was pure evil. Mickey didn't know where that wretched invisible thing was coming from. It had to be living in the air, always lurking around everyone, seeking to devour every independent mind with its invisible words. And though Mickey had won in battling it back this time, he could feel it still lurking nearby and waiting to invade his intellect. He could feel it. Yes, he could feel it still trying to get under his skin, that evil thing. And he began to recognize it even more, its influence upon his self-doubts, causing self-reflection. Maybe I'm wrong, he kept wondering. Maybe all good is bad and all bad is good. What the hell? He began to recognize in the sickest ways of its worthiness of existing in him, and he felt confusion settle in as he clutched his hair and pinched his eyes and thought about running away. But he couldn't. No, not yet. No, his legs were like rubber, and they wouldn't move. It was as if that thing was in control of his legs, turning his ankles and toes into rubber and melting them to the pavement. And then that wretched red fog came again, straight for whatever purity might be left in his view of the cruel world around having found much prior conquest within him. And so there it was again in Mickey's mind, that word virus embedded in that wretched cursed scroll, with all of its intense viral word spirit suddenly crowding out the light of his independent thoughts with darkness, as if that word virus was embedded inside to conquer and control him with greed, and he felt the word virus spreading deep inside of his thoughts, seeking out to destroy every hope he fought to preserve, every hope he had for peace of mind, independence from the money-religion machine. Mickey knew he had to run away from that wretched red fog, that wretched invisible thing full of an evil spirit. There was no time to waste. Mickey bolted for the street and held his breath as he ran as far as he could from the clutches of the red fog. He ran and ran until finally the edges of mist began to fade and dissipate, and he ran more until finally he was out of its reach, somewhere near another bus stop on a much quieter street, in a much more normalized atmosphere of the cityscape where busy pedestrians were walking and cars were jamming into intersections. Thank God the mayhem hadn't reached this section of Los Angeles yet, and he was glad for it. But damn, he thought, I have to go to work. I'm supposed clocked into the machine in about another half hour or so, even despite all of this terror and mayhem, madness and irrational violence. Mickey wanted to hop on the next bus and skip town instead, but didn't have enough money. There was no way to escape without money and plenty of it. No, Mickey was trapped, just the same as they all were. Trapped. And to quit your job meant that your prospects for employment would die along with your career. The next employer wouldn't go near you for quitting, and then he'd be out on the street, homeless, helpless, and left without anything, not even a good look from a stranger. Not a dream in the world to ever get back on his feet again. What to do? What? The scroll had said that the masters behind the invasion would set up the world so that every employer would punish you for quitting. That was written in the scroll. This preliminary condition was already set up for this moment, the moment of their official arrival, the invasion, all for their final conquest. And what to do with only $600 in the bank? Mickey wondered. Where to go anyways? Who to run to? He'd had no family left, just like poor Maria. They were all now dead and buried in the dirt. There was no one else to run to for help either. There was no way out of this mess. And he had to get to work. Yes, back to work to pay his bills, to pay his rent, to pay for the next meal, to pay for his insurance, well, darn it, Mickey thought. He knew had to catch the next bus, even despite the calamity. He knew he had no other choice. He might already be late getting to work, might already be in trouble by now. No excuses, not ever, Mick. he'd been warned by his superior during his job training. We don't care about excuses. Excuses don't earn money. Excuses cost money. Only actions earn money. Only performance. Distractions aren't relevant to our business or what we do around here. So get to work, all of you. Just do it. Get to work now. Mickey had to catch the bus, even if it would cost him his life along the way, because his job was everything in the world. His job was more than everything too, it seemed. His job was his calling card to his dreams. Or was it? Was it? Was it just like it was to Maria, just like it was to everyone else, and to every citizen who didn't want to be homeless, and to every person in the world who feared being condemned? Suddenly, Mickey remembered what LaToya had said last night. Whatever you do, don't, Mick, just don't ever lose your job. She was right. The scroll was right too. There was no place for excuses. It was true. Excuses wouldn't pay any of the bills, none of them. And it was just like his mother once said to him when he was only 5 years old, sitting over his bowl of oatmeal before being sent off to kindergarten. I've got to go to work, Mick. I've got no choice. And you won't have one either. We all need to make a living and have to do what we must to keep the roof over our heads, the food on our tables, the water flowing through the faucets, and most especially the hope we hide within ourselves. Always hide that hope, Mickey. Always protect that hope you have. Don't ever let them take your hope away, or your dreams, because they will. Yes, they'll try to kill all of them before the next person even tries. And so, Mickey's mind raced. Yes, I've got to keep any of my hopes and dreams alive. I've got to, he thought. All of my hopes against losing myself in the madness of this world, of losing my freedom to be who I was born to be. Yes, I've got to stay alive. I've got to keep playing the game, keep on playing. Just then, Mickey saw his bus approach the curb, and the bus slowed down and approached the stop. Mickey ran for the bus, his fears kicking in. Got to catch it, got to before I am late. And yet he knew, the wretched invasion, it had only just begun.